Welcome to the channel. I'm Richard from North of the Golden Throne, your online hobby home. And I just came back from my longest trip ever to pick up a collection. I traveled how many miles? Put it up here. I traveled this many miles to pick up a Pokemon collection from a guy who's kind of getting out of the hobby. As long as I ever traveled to pick up any Pokemon cards, so I hopped in the car with one of my buddies who's a huge Pokemon fan. He's more of an investor, has a lot of sealed product that he's been holding on to for years now. He's also messing around with the slab game, and he did some vending back in the day, but was only helping out people, never did it himself. So we went on a road trip for Pokemon cards. It was pretty fun. Got to talk about many things, catch up with him. He's actually one of my friends from high school. I tend to keep cool people around me for as long as possible. But yeah, I was able to find a collection on Facebook Marketplace. I know Facebook Marketplace can be hit or miss. Sometimes you find some awesome people, sometimes you find, well, Facebook people. But this time it was pretty cool. The trip was about an hour and 15 minutes or so. But you know, I live in Texas, so driving that amount of time is normal. That's like a Wednesday. Either way, went to pick up the collection. It was actually a dad of 4. He had an interesting story about his Pokemon tale. He said his kids were into Pokemon, and you know, they had done a trade, and they were looking at one of the cards he got. And when he scanned it, he noticed that the card was $700. So he was like, "Yep, we're gonna sleeve this." They sleeved the card, and then they ended up having a ritual with the kids where they would go buy a sealed product, rip it open together, look at them, and then put them up. The kids were able to play with the bulk cards and, you know, destroy them as kids normally do with cards. I mean, I've got my cards from my childhood, and even though I was a competitive player back in the day, let's say maybe 5% of them are in mint condition. But either way, he told me a story that kind of is pushing me for a project that I'm going to be doing later on. He said the reason he's getting out of it is, you know, the kids just can't get product anymore. It's so hard to get sealed product, and they're in like a smaller town. And he was like, well, basically all the college kids go to the stores and pick up all product, and he can't get it. And then they can't afford to pay, you know, exorbitant prices for products, so they end up just not having any. But he was like, yeah, the kids are probably going to move over to different type of games or toys or something like that. So they're saying goodbye to their collection. So I was able to pick it up at a good price. I think I paid around 75% for everything. And I have to say, everything they had was beautiful. It was an amazing collection, and everything was in near mint condition. So if any of you are interested in buying cards from this collection, you can look in the description below and find my pro seller store on TCG Player. So after talking to the dad, it really made me want to make a product, just for kids. Like, okay, I understand like Pokemon is exploding right now because my generation finally has the money to like spend things on, things we enjoy. So we're pumping up the market for Pokemon, but it kind of destroys the future of another generation. So create a product for kids for them to enjoy, so they can still get the opportunity to open packs, but not have to fight with adults for those cards. They'll probably be, boat cards, cards that are maybe worth, $5-10, but they can still enjoy. It's something I've been really thinking of recently, and I think there's a market for it, and especially I think there's a need for it. Pokemon cards should be for everyone. I'm building part of my business on Pokemon cards, so I'm not gonna say, hey, you're wrong for, buying cards or selling cards. That's not how I feel. But for a whole generation not to be able to enjoy it like I did, that doesn't feel good. So that'll be a product that I work on. I'll probably debut it in the upcoming weeks. I'm still workshopping things. My ultimate goal is to own a LGS. I'm building this business from the bottom. So if you want to see what I can create from this humble home office, make sure to subscribe now. Peace.